Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for participating tonight. I can hear there are already a lot of questions there. The first one is, does this mean that if some body parts recover faster than others, doesn't this mean that would need to be trained more often than only once per week? Well, definitely not. Because I explained in many videos why every muscle should be trained once per week. So I would just train it once because you can't tell how much your muscle has recovered. If it's not sore, it doesn't mean that it's fully recovered. So I would still train it once per week. All right. Thank you, BR559, for your super sticker. I appreciate that. Looking forward for your questions. There is, I can see there are a few members here as well. So let me answer to Vincent. Is it true that artificial sweeteners can spike insulin? Dr. Chaffee said so. Well, I'm not sure that this is the case because a lot of people who are diabetic, they take artificial sweeteners, and I don't think that spike will be significant even if it is. So the best thing is to try and see how that works for you. So if you can lose fat while using artificial sweeteners, then use them. Don't abuse them like everything else. And just see how it goes, because we are all different. Some people may react better to them, some people not as good. So unless you try and prove that something works for you, I would not just go for some general final absolute conclusion on them. And again, can you explain why the overhead pull over for chest is a subpar exercise in your estimation, Dr. Josic? Serge Nubre seemed to like unrecommended. Well, Serge Nubre may have done it, and everybody else who's done it, this is the pull-over exercise. I never did it. I never found any use of that exercise, regardless of who did it. Not everything that Serge Nubre did I approve, neither Arnold or anybody else. So you need to obviously build your own experience. I learned from my own experience and experience of my clients. None of my clients is doing a pull-over exercise, and a lot of them has amazing back and amazing chest. And I have as well achieved great results without ever doing that pull-over exercise. Let me see what else is there. One kg fat loss will affect negatively for females. I don't really understand the question. Well, how much fat you're going to lose every week? This is nobody can tell you that exactly. You cannot be aiming to lose 1 kg of body fat or 2 or half a kg of body fat. This is unrealistic proposition, because you're not a robot. Simply, you can't just calculate how much fat you can lose. When you go on a right diet and right training, you will be losing fat. And I would rather do photos every month and then compare them, and then look at the photos of next month and see if you have achieved any change, regardless of what scale says. The mirror is your best friend, and also the photos will prove that you have changed or you didn't change. So if you go on the scale and you lose, let's say 2, 3, 5 kgs, you will never know exactly where they came from. So a mirror is still the best thing, and obviously doing photos every month at the same place, the same lighting. This is what I advise all my clients to do. When do you train your forearms in your 4-day split? I never train my forearms. The only exercise that I do for brachioradialis and for the extensors and flexors is actually hammer curls, because if that exercise is performed correctly with either dumbbells or a rope, that will be more than enough. But more importantly, if you train your back without using straps, your forearms will do fantastic job, and you don't really need to train them. But stay away from straps, because they will make your hand and your forearms actually weak, because they're there to help you to have better grip. But why don't you improve your grip by simply gripping harder? So bent over rows, dumbbell rows, cable rows, pull downs, pull ups especially. I never use straps, and I never did anything in particular for forearms. Do you recommend increasing daily step count or even cardio to speed up fat loss? Not at all. You will not burn significant amount of fat by doing cardio or walking daily. You burn fat mainly because of the diet. So the diet is the main factor for fat loss. I know bodybuilders who competed without doing a single step or 1 minute of cardio. I was one of them as well. So you don't need to do it. It's just a gimmick, because people think if they pedal on cardio 1 hour every day, they're doing something. They're doing nothing. They're just pumping cortisol unnecessarily. I talk about outdoor walks, which are important for you, but not for fat loss, for some other physiological benefits. And watch the video on outdoor walks, and you will get the message, the clear message, and obviously more explain in detail regarding that outdoor walks. Is it worth taking creatine, and how much per day? So the research is obviously making creatine extremely powerful, because research is sponsored by creatine manufacturers. During my competitive days, I never used creatine because we didn't have it. Arnold never used creatine. Sergio Oliva didn't know what creatine is because it didn't exist. Serge Nubre neither, and so many others, until I think it was 1993 or 4 when creatine came out. And is it helping? I'm not sure about it. I don't think it's much help, especially if you eat diet that I recommend. If you eat enough red meat, if you eat enough sardines, they are full of creatine, and your body will always make enough. So I will be very careful with this. I mean, try and see if there are any changes. But personally, I never experienced any tremendous change. Everything is always due to training and proper diet. Thank you for your content that you're creating. I wish find you much earlier. I mean, I hear this 20 times every day, but what can I do? I'm there. So if people find me, fine. If they don't find me, what can I do? And yeah, okay. Thank you anyway. I hope you are benefiting from that. What can you advise for stubborn chest muscle which doesn't want to grow, especially upper chest muscle? Well, if chest muscles don't grow, as they don't in many cases, in many people, the main reason for that is that people don't know how to exercise chest properly. and most of the stress goes on shoulders and triceps. This is very common, and unfortunately, I can say that the majority of people don't train chest properly. They're just training their shoulders and triceps. You need to fully stretch and fully contract your chest in every exercise, especially fully stretch. So when it comes to presses, wide grip press, flat press, incline, decline, whatever, wide grip, going almost all the way up, but not all the way up, not locking at the top, is the bread and butter for chest. But you need to understand that doing that correctly means that your upper arm scapula has to be literally in the same horizontal line. If your scapula, if your arms go down, further down they go, you're training your shoulders, because this is the shoulder motion. Chest motion is completely different plane. So in order to do chest, you need to stretch like this, not like that. And you see people doing always some upright rows and bench press like this, but this is all triceps and shoulders. This is simple basics of biomechanics. So I think that's the main reason why chests are not developing in most people. Any suggestions for pre-existing injuries that just keep getting worse? Well, if you have an injury, you must have done something wrong, either in one session or most likely over the period of time. Most injuries are of accumulative nature. They accumulate over time. And because they accumulate, usually, like I just mentioned, because of wrong biomechanics, when you actually expose wrong muscles, wrong joints, wrong tendons or ligaments, not the right ones, you will get injured. Now, you need to assess your training. Watch my videos in which I explain all about the right training. And I explain that in my bodybuilding blueprint course in detail about every exercise for all major muscle groups, how to exercise. And this is not just to get bigger, but also to prevent injuries. And this is what most people simply neglect. And this is the right form. No injury will come ever if you exercise in right form. Injuries always happen because you have exercised in the wrong form, period. Remember that. Well, I'm not going to talk about philosophy now. I did that yesterday, and you can watch my lectures on my YouTube channel, which is called Philosophy Matters. So this is a training channel. So we talk about training, muscles, fat loss, food. I'm doing your 4-day split, once a week plan. I'm feeling recharged by the day 6, Sunday. Is it okay to repeat the plan on day 6? Yes, absolutely is. All my advice, everything that I say is a guidance. I'm not giving a recipe. I never said that everybody should train every muscle once a week. I'm just saying that most people will benefit most of the time by training every muscle once per week. But it doesn't mean that some people won't benefit training muscle once every 6 days or even 5 days, especially if you're enhanced. So take my advice as a guidance, as a signpost, as a structure, and then find what works for you. Absolutely fine. Mr. Benz Donner, thank you very much for your contribution to the channel, for your super sticker. And the question is, do you have any favorite philosophy book that can improve the mindset behind achieving extraordinary results in the gym? Well, I don't have a favorite philosophy book, because most of them are all my favorite books, especially from German classical philosophy of 19th century. But if you are somebody who is just starting, I would advise you to start with Plato's Republic, because every journey starts with the first step. So this is the good starting point. So Plato's Republic. Low carb diet. Is it okay to eat yogurt that is low in carbs and no sugar and count it as proper protein? Well, yogurt is not low in carbs. Even if there is no sugar in there, it's still around 4% carbs. So this is 40 grams of carbohydrates, which is milk sugar in yogurt. So you have to be careful. A little bit of yogurt is fine, but I'm not sure that is the best choice to count protein because it's relatively low in protein as well. So you're much better off to eat cottage cheese, which is double in protein, if not triple, or obviously other stuff. But it's not the best source of protein because it's only 4% or 3 to 4%. I watched your video and you posted and said that you were eating 5 meals a day. Now you recommend 2 or 3. Why did you change and what benefit did you find? Well, I used to eat 5-6 times per day when I competed because I didn't know better. And everybody did, so I also did. I changed that maybe some 25-6 years ago. And I benefited much more by eating 2, mainly 3 meals a day. And then I also did a lot of photo shoots in which I came in a very good shape, very good size, and I did it with 3 meals a day. So, you can also eat 5 meals a day, but it's going to be much harder because you're going to put much more fat in the off season. It's very difficult to stay away from fat year round if you eat 5 times a day. So yes, I did it, but it doesn't mean that, as you know, don't do what I do what I say, because what I do works for me, but it doesn't have to work for you. So I don't want people just to copy me, as I don't want people to copy Arnold or Serge Nubre or anybody else. These are all examples, and you need to find what works for you. I can give you suggestions, but I can't live your life. I cannot feel for you. So you try and see what works for you. Eat 5 times a day and then go switch to 3 and see what happens. In my case, I benefited greatly, and I eat 3 times per day, sometimes 2, but mainly 3 every day. And it just works fantastic because I stay lean and muscular and full of energy year round. For me, there is no off season, on season. I'm always in season. So this is my experience. I will soon be going to a 3-day vacation, and unfortunately, I won't have access to gym or any opportunity to train. What would you recommend I do, and how might this affect my muscle mass? Well, there are many things that you can do, and they will not affect your muscle mass. First of all, number one, when you go on a vacation, make sure that you eat healthy. So usually when people go on vacation, they start eating ice cream, cakes, they drink too much, and then they lose shape and everything, and blaming lack of training. No, this is not true. You need to eat still healthily. And when it comes to training, if there is absolutely no gym, which I can't believe, wherever you go in the world, you will find a gym if you want to find a gym. But if you don't find a gym, you can always do, maybe you can do squats, do as many reps as you can, as many sets as you can. So if you start doing body weight squats, do 50 reps in first set if you can. In the second set, you'll probably drop down to 30, and then it's going to go 20, 15, 15, and maybe the fifth set will be 5 reps. After that, you can do lunges, the same principle. As many reps, as many sets. When you finish that, you can do press-ups, the same principle. And then you can end up finish with crunches. You lie down on the floor, put your feet on the bed, and do as many reps, as many sets, and this will be a fantastic session. So if you do this every other day, I think you will be in very good shape and you won't lose anything. On the days I train before work, I will have cup of spinach and carrots. Is that okay? Well, I don't know why you're having spinach and carrots, and what is that going to do to you? You don't need anything in your stomach when you go to the gym. So train on empty stomach. Maybe you have a coffee or tea or anything like that before your training. some or just water with electrolytes, some half an hour or just before training and during training. Coffee, obviously, half an hour, 45 minutes before. And train on empty stomach. There is nothing wrong training on empty stomach. It's actually fantastic. So why would you put spinach and carrots in your body for whatever reason? I don't know. But I don't think it's going to do anything to you. So benefit zero, damage probably just loading your digestive system with something that doesn't give you any benefit. So just train on empty stomach. And also, if you train during the day, make sure that you train again a good 2 or 3 hours after your meal. So you don't want to eat just before training, as so many people who don't have a clue about physiology do, and I see them in the gym every single day. They just stuff themselves with rice and chicken and then go immediately after that to train. I mean, this is wrong. It's very wrong. Hello, Nash. I'm 9 weeks in following your YouTube advice. Changes are groundbreaking. Eating 2-3 meals, protein, fat 2-to-1 ratio, high volume 4 days a week. Down 6 kgs. Definition is kicking in. Amazing. Simply amazing. Well done and congratulations, because what you're doing now is obviously fitting in with your physiology, with your anatomy, your lifestyle, and you're improving. I mean, what else can you expect? Just carry on doing everything as you're doing, and you're not the only one. There are so many people who benefit immediately after following my advice. You just read the comments on YouTube videos, which are coming every day in hundreds, and you will see how many people are benefiting. So you're one of them, and really well done. Just keep going. I think my calories are too low. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Well, guys, in 2010, I published a book called The Ultimate Nutrition. And in 2010, so 16 years ago, I have devoted a whole chapter, which is called The Game of Counting Calories. And I explained what a kind of nonsense that is. So, we like everything to be calculated today, immaculately precise. We want the surgical precision in everything we do. But the problem is that your body, your physiology, your biochemistry, they don't have any clue about your intention of being surgically precise in number of calories, because you will never be able, to calculate exactly how much calories do you need. And all these calculations and all these softwares and gadgets that are sold, which will tell you how much calories do you need, they're absolute waste of time. You will never go anywhere by doing that. They're done for the simple reason to sell the gadgets and to make some people sound intelligent and knowledgeable. It's very narrow-minded approach, very singled-out thinking, and it never worked. Just look again in the history of bodybuilding. Do you think that Lee Haney counted calories? That Frank Zane counted calories? Or maybe Serge Nubre or Arnold? They didn't even know what calories are. So these people, and also so many in the 80s, they ended up in an amazing shape. Today, bodybuilders, with all these coaches who know everything about calories and the reduction of calories and this and that and other, fables and good night stories and stuff like that. And look at them, they're all fat. They're not out of shape. They're fat. They come fat on the stage. I've seen so many bodybuilding shows recently. People are just fat. They turn around. The glutes are fat. The hamstrings is not split. The lower back is fat in most professional bodybuilders on Olympia stage. If you don't trust me, watch the videos and look at their lower back, look at their back in general. So that didn't happen in 70s and 80s, and even in 90s, because people didn't count calories. So stop counting calories and focus on protein. So you need to focus on protein. 2.5 to 3 grams of protein per kg of your body weight, unless you're obese. So if your body weight, if you're normal, like 10 to 15% body fat, then 2.5 to 3 grams of protein per kg of body weight, half of that amount in weight for fat, and off you go, and then see how it works. And if you start losing body fat, then you're doing everything right. If you're not losing body fat, then you have to drop your fat down as well. If you are enhanced, you can go even higher. You can go 4 or 5 grams of protein per kg of body weight. But I mean, calories, I mean, whoever did that. So this is not going to work. So I would just forget about it. What do you think about walking on treadmill every day in the morning for cardio? Weights in the evening. You can do that, but you'll probably just get fatter because you're going to be pumping unnecessary amount of cortisol in your body, which you don't need. And this is exactly what treadmill will do to you every morning. So again, I've done the video on outdoor walks, how they should be done, how long, where, how many times per week. Watch that video, and I explain everything about the benefits of outdoor walks compared to so-called cardio, traditional cardio. What would be the best leg training if I don't have leg press machine available? Well, when I started training, I didn't have leg press. I managed to win shows without even having leg press. Leg press came a bit later in my bodybuilding career when I made leg press myself. I had people, actually found a factory that made leg press for me. And I used leg press as a finishing exercise, finishing with high number of reps. My legs grew from squats, front squats, and lunges, and they are all free weights. So if you can do, start with either squats first, do as many sets as you can. Reps should be anywhere from 12 to 20. After that, you can try to do front squats. Maybe just take a plate, 20 kg plate, or maybe a heavier dumbbell. You don't have to hold the weight here because it's very uncomfortable. If it's the second exercise, front squats will be very difficult. So grab a heavy dumbbell, maybe 30, 40 kgs, whatever you can, and do the same thing. Whatever, as many sets as you can, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have to find out how much you can do. And do the same thing, 12 to 20 reps. Now, the third exercise should be lunges. Again, take either plate on your chest or 2 dumbbells and do walking lunges. As many sets as you can. Number of reps should be, again, anywhere from 12 to 20 for each leg. So the whole set is either 24 to 40 steps. And this will be more than enough. If you have leg curls, you can finish with leg curls. The same principle. Do as many sets as you can, 3, 4, 6, 7, and keep the reps anywhere from 12 to 20. So you can do a lot. I mean, even in the past, people built massive legs because doing squats, front squats, and lunges, you don't have to have leg press or hack squats. So that's all fine. Hex and Tinto, thank you very much for your super sticker, for your support of the channel. And the question that you have asked, is 16 hours of fasting bad for muscle building? 92 kgs, 240 protein, 120 fat, carbs below 70. My workout is in early morning. Your protein and fat and carbs are very good. Your ratio is brilliant. And I would up maybe protein to 300 grams. Your workout in the early morning is also fine. Train on empty stomach. 16 hours of fasting can be very good for some people, but can be also bad for others. You need to try and see how that works. I personally don't fast more than 12 hours. I tried longer, but I found out that it's just necessary stress to my system. There are many people who are benefiting greatly. There are people who eat once a day, so basically they're fasting 24 hours after that. I can't suggest a rule that will fit and answer everybody's story, but it may be good if you thrive, if your training is good, if you're progressing, burning body fat, building muscle, fine. If you have a bit of difficulties, maybe cut this down to 14 and then maybe to 12 hours. Try, experiment. It's all an experiment. So unless you try yourself, as I said, things won't change. So once again, thank you for your support. Clip Day, thank you very much also for your super sticker and supporting the channel. And you have said great gains on 4-day split, but it has exposed all tendon inquiries. Do you recommend any specific techniques to strengthen tendons to help catch up with muscle gains? Also love your eBooks. Thank you very much for your kind comment. Regarding your tendons, it depends which tendons are inflamed. So tendons are usually inflamed because you have done something wrong either in a single session or in a successive number of sessions, so you have accumulated that injury. So when tendon is inflamed, that means that there is a micro trauma there, and there maybe the best thing to do for that particular tendon, let's say if we are talking about the knee, is to keep stretching your knees. So if you go in a full squatting position, just body weight, no exercise, and stay there for a minute or two, then rest, then repeat again a few times. A lot of people have actually experienced great improvement when it comes to a knee tendon. When it comes to shoulder tendons and ligaments especially, I had issues like that, and some of my clients, and the best answer and the best thing to do is actually to do dead hangs. So you literally jump on the bar, hang there as long as you can. 60 seconds will be great. If you can hang for longer, that is even better. And do 4 or 5 hangs every day, and that will just go. So if the injury is of a more complicated nature, then you need to find a good osteopath, because they are the experts when it comes to this type of problems. But these two movements, like if you're talking about the knees, squatting and staying in a deep squatting position for a few minutes, then rest, so do that a few times every day, will help. And also if you have a problem in the back or shoulders, dead hangs. The reason for that is that tendons as ligaments, they're very badly blooded. They're not capillaries, not as many capillaries in them, and this is why the injuries inflammation stays for longer. So the best way to increase circulation in that area is actually to fully stretch and stretch that particular area in few sets, maybe a couple of times a day, every day. And this is the advice that you will get from your osteopath as well. But again, if it's more complicated, you need to get advice for a good, experienced osteopath. Talk about sleep. Why is it hard to sleep on low carbs? I never had a problem with that. I don't know who and why you're not sleeping on low carbs. It's probably psychological, because if you are addicted to carbs, it's very difficult to get rid of addiction. And I don't eat any carbs and I sleep very good. I sleep 8-9 hours every night. So not just me, but also so many of my clients. I mean, if you have reasons, then do your research, but it's nothing to do with carbs. It's nothing to do with carbs. Will natural bodybuilding still exist, or what do you think it will look in 5 to 10 years? Well, natural bodybuilding is a beautiful thing. It's also very hard because it requires a lot of patience, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of consistency. It's much harder to be a natural bodybuilder and have a great body than to be enhanced bodybuilder. You need to know a lot and you need to be very consistent. Now, the problem is that natural bodybuilding, in a way, is not fair. People don't realize that, when you take steroids, then you are on the same plane with everybody else. So this is a fair play game because everybody takes them, and then that's all fine. You're all on equal plane. But when you talk about natural bodybuilding, the problem is that you have people who naturally produce more testosterone than others, and that's not fair. Nothing you can do about it. It's just genetics. So somebody produces 20 milligrams of testosterone a day and somebody produces 5. So they are not going to be on the same plane. And this is the problem. And this is why a lot of people try and it don't work. And then people who are very genetically gifted or produce a lot of testosterone and growth hormone, they just explode. My son is one of them. And everybody thinks he's on steroids. And he's not even taking vitamins. So what is the reason? There are a lot of other people that I know who are natural and they don't look anything. I mean, they are not even half his size. And they are training hard and then doing everything right. And this is very good, very healthy, but the look doesn't follow simply because of their genetic predisposition. Also, not everybody has the same muscle bellies. Not everybody has the same proportion of type 2B muscle fibers in the muscles, which are the most important for muscle growth. Some people have predominantly type 1 or slow twitch muscle fibers, and they won't grow as somebody who is predominantly type 2 muscle fibers. So it's a very, very difficult. Not many people spend time discussing this properly. So natural bodybuilding will always be there. Natural bodybuilders are simply, there are many that, like my son and others, who are looking great. So that will always exist. I know you favor of carnivore keto diet. Just curious how you score on LDL levels, and I'm seriously considering doing this diet. Everyone speaks one steady energy levels. Thanks. Well, I have the video on that, actually two, and I talk about my LDL levels and what happens when you go on any type of keto diet, when you drop carbohydrates and you increase your protein and fat. So the body will have to transport extra cholesterol and extra fat through the bloodstream, and therefore the body will increase LDL carriers. And there is nothing wrong with that. But your doctor will tell you different. So you need to decide. Watch my videos and do your research, and you will see that overall count of overall cholesterol, if it's high, is not the most reliable measure of your health, especially if you are on low carbohydrate diet. There are much better markers for your health, which is your HDL and triglycerides. So when you go on a low carb diet, your HDL will go up and your triglycerides will go down. And the ratio between HDL and triglycerides will increase dramatically in the positive sense. It will actually decrease. So do your research, watch my videos. I explain everything in detail. Hex Centino, thank you very much again for your second super sticker. And you say, also I want to say thank you for your advice on diet and workout. I'm 10 days in and so big difference already, but about the 300 grams of protein, I think you're right again because I'm 192. Well, I can only give you an advice. So if you want, you should try and see how it works. You may even need more than that, depending on your training, depending on your needs, depending on how everything right you do. If your training is perfect, if you are doing everything in right form, if you're doing good number of reps, in good pace, meaning high time under tension, you may even need more than 3 grams, but you will never find out unless you try. And I think you should try. Try for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then again do your photos and see how you responded to increase the amount of protein in your daily diet. Once again, thank you very much. How did Serge Nubra had such a small waist when he was eating so much horse meat every day? But it's simple. I mean, eating meat is not going to increase your waist, because most of the time when people train wrong, when people religiously perform these deadlifts on a regular basis, very heavy squats in wrong form, so they have to put a lot of weight and then stabilize that weight with muscles which are called obliques, which is muscles of the side of your waist. They just simply start growing, and once they grow, they will never go back. Deadlift is the number one exercise that will stimulate growth of these muscles, which are called obliques. Serge Nubra never did deadlifts, never did squats in wrong form with too much weight, and his abdominal section never grew. If you eat meat, your insulin will be low, and therefore your visceral fat will never be there. And extended guts, and not just increased volume of your internal organs because of abuse of growth hormone and insulin, but also visceral fat, which is there thanks to high amount of carbohydrates in the diet. So I think I answered clearly your question. He had very small waist and he was eating a lot of meat, and not just him, others as well. But yeah, try, see what happens. As a natural athlete, one question: for chest 16 sets and biceps 9 sets is enough? Well, I don't know where did you come to that holy number of 16 and 9 for biceps. It can be anything from 16 to 30 sets. It doesn't have to be 16. It can be 17 or 22. So you need to do as many sets as you can. You should not be the slave of the number. The same applies for biceps, natural or not. Principles are the same. Large muscle groups, I advise anywhere from 20 to 30 sets. So chest, back, legs. Smaller muscle groups like biceps, triceps, anywhere from 12 to 15 sets. And yeah, give it a go. Can you advise how to structure a carb refeed for bodybuilding for lean individuals and insulin sensitive? Well, first of all, I don't know why would you need carb refeed. I spoke about that in many videos. You don't need carb refeed, or maybe it's just psychological that you know that on every Saturday you will eat tons of rice and pasta, maybe ice cream, and then you're going to live for that Saturday and feed your passion for carbs. Apart from that, there is no need for refeed. There is no need for refeed. Your glycogen will always be there. I don't eat any carbs, and I train almost every day. I do 25, 30 sets for large muscle groups. Where is the glycogen coming from? So this is once again this pampering gimmick that a lot of people, so-called experts, are trying to give you, so to make you happy, not to run away from their channel, and love them because they said, oh, you should eat 400 or 500 grams of carbs once a week to refeed. Well, you don't need to refeed because your body will always make glycogen via gluconeogenesis. Now, if you want to, but you don't have to, you can do that. Eat one carb meal a week, or every 5 days or every 6 days. Carb meal, maybe 70 grams of carbs. That will be around 100 grams of dry rice. So cook that with a bit of chicken once a week, fine. But what will change? Nothing will change. Try and you will see. Hayden, again, thank you very much for your super sticker and supporting the channel. I appreciate it, guys. And again, the same question. When you have finished your cut show, how do you reverse diet properly, please? Well, when you finish your diet, when you finish your cut and your show, you have probably been on a relatively high amount of protein, but probably very low fat. So this is not the healthiest time, the healthiest diet. So you should not be eating like that for the rest of the year. So if you're 75 kgs, I would be on about, but you're 180, you're my height. So I competed with 100 kgs, a little bit different. So I would up protein maybe 200 grams, but I would also up fat. So fat should be anywhere from 100, maybe 150 grams, depending on your metabolism, depending on your training. Carbs, again, I would stay away from them because I would rather stay lean in the off season than to get fat. So you don't need to reverse diet to anything to get fat. You just need to eat healthier diet, and the healthier diet will be the one which will offer you a little bit more fat. If you want to refeed once a week or every 6 days, 5 days, whatever, one meal for you, 60, 70 grams of carbs is all that you need. But you don't have to, because physiologically you don't need that. So I say that, I will say it again if needed, but you don't need to do it. And this is what masters of bodybuilding always did. Frank Zane talks about it in a recent video, that he actually made 3 big mistakes by doing the famous off season, and he got fat in the off season. And then he said, I paid big price because I had to train like crazy for 5 hours a day after that, because I couldn't get in shape easily. And he also won one show, I think, in 1972, because he couldn't get in shape, because he was obviously he got fat in the off season because he wanted to try that famous off season and more carbs and stuff. But then he never did it again, and he was very, very knowledgeable, obviously, and he also advises people not to do that. Also, thank you very much for your help and your support for the channel. If training on split chest and biceps, how many exercises per muscle group? I'm 120 kg currently on intermittent fasting, consuming around 200 grams, 250 protein. Well, if you do chest and biceps, I would stick again. You can do 4 or 5 different exercises for chest. If you do 5, you do 4 to 5 sets each. Biceps, you do 3 exercises. You do biceps curls, squat curls, and you do hammer curls, and you do each exercise 4 to 5 sets. I don't know how lean you are. If you're 120 kgs, but you're not lean, protein is okay. Make sure that your fat is about 100 grams if you're not lean, and I would stay away from carbs depending on your shape. But yeah, as I said, 4 to 5 exercises for chest, 3 exercises for biceps. Now, if you do 4 exercises for chest, then you need to do more sets. You need to do 6 sets, 5, 6, 7 sets per exercise, depending. Some 6, some 5, some 7. But follow the principles. I'm lean, 92 kgs natural. How would you optimize macros from 50 grams carbs, 130 grams fat, 260 protein for maximum muscle gain? And how would you measure progress along to validate? Photos, measure tape. So for 92 kgs, you are following a very good diet. The macros are in the right proportion. And I would only do photos, because measures, tapes, calipers, they don't work. They're all gimmicks. So just do photos every month, same place, same light, and you will see over a period of months if you have progressed or not. As you know, I'm doing your 90 days challenge, going great. Well done. The question, why is that you don't like dumbbell pullovers? Why did a bunch of golden era did it? did you do them over? Because that exercise simply doesn't do anything. It's a good stretching exercise. You stretch a little bit your intercostal muscles, and that's it. It's not an exercise for back. It's not an exercise for chest. They could have done anything. I mean, they did all kind of stuff in Golden Era. That doesn't mean that I agree with everything. They're not gods. The men experimented with so many different things. They did some things right. I talk about that mainly. They did some things wrong because they didn't know. And yes, it's just waste of time. That exercise will never do anything for you, because if you understand biomechanics and if you see how the force actually is applied during the, let's say, dumbbell pullover exercise, this is absolutely nothing but simply stretching your upper body without doing any effective work, neither for chest or for back. So it's entirely up to you. Jay Skills, thank you very much for your help and support. German volume training. Well, I don't have big opinion about that training. It's nothing special for me. 10 times 10. I mean, why 10? Why 10 sets? Why 10 reps? Doesn't make any sense. When I advise you to do legs 12 to 20 and choose the weight that you can lift 20 reps, going close to failure, and then do again as many sets as you can, during which your reps will start dropping down from 20 to 17 and to 15, maybe 13, and then 12, and then 10. Once you drop under 10, this is the end. This is the end. How many sets are you going to do? Nobody knows. Depends on your fitness level, your experience, your motivation, your discipline, and other things. So you understand the principle, the logic behind this. What is the logic behind 10 times 10? No logic. Why not 9 times 9 or 11 times 11? So I think is actually a big nonsense, just to accommodate people who prefer to be the slave of the reason only, but not logic. So you need to employ logic in your reasoning. Logic is a tool. Aristotle calls it organon, which means tools. An organon, logic, we have in order to avoid contradictions in our thinking and our sentences. So I'm just exposing the logical flow of this 10 times 10 system. Why that system? Why not 9 by 9? Any answer? No answer. Because there is no answer. It's a nonsense. So I don't know why people like to believe in this. German or Swedish or Bulgarian, what are calling them now? Bulgarian squats or something. Why Bulgarian? Why not Romanian or something? Oh, what is Bulgarian squat? Seriously? Where that comes from? It's all kind of gimmicks around. So you have to be aware of that. Stay away from that and stick to the basics. Stick to physiology, anatomy, biomechanics, and that's it. And then you will be able to recognize a gimmick. Also, thank you very much for your help, for your super sticker. Are traps trained part of back or separate? In regards to shoulders, you train all 3 heads, and how many exercises per head? Trapezius muscle is part of back muscles. When you train rowing, actually, even when you train pull downs, pull ups, you're going to use your trapezius muscle, unavoidable. When you do rowing exercises, you're predominantly training your trapezius muscle, the biggest section of that trapezius muscle. Trapezius is a second biggest muscle on the body, on the back. And what it does, it contracts and extends scapulas, shoulder blades. So that contraction, full contraction, or on the top, when you do bent over rows, for example, contracts fully trapezius muscle, and that trapezius muscle brings scapulas together. Now, when you lower the weights, you stretch that trapezius and your shoulder blades simply open up. And this is the nature of the exercise. Now, there is another part of trapezius muscle, which is top trapezius muscle, which is right around the neck. and that part should be considered as a part of shoulder workout. I do upright rows, and rarely I do shrugs for trapezius in my shoulder workout. Yes, and I do one exercise for every head. So one exercise for lateral delts, one for rear delts, one for front delt, and one exercise for trapezius. So altogether, I do 4 exercises for shoulders. I don't train forearms because I don't use straps, and my forearms are engaged constantly while doing pulling and rowing exercises. Exercises. Can you mention a few that you see in the gym and they don't work? Well, there are many exercises that people do and they don't work. For example, when I see skinny guys or beginners and they spend most of the time doing some cable lateral raises or some cables rear contractions for rear delts, and then they are doing some isolating exercises for glutes and stuff like that. I mean, these small muscle groups will change nothing. So if you're a beginner or if you're a skinny guy, you need to focus on basics. You need to focus on squats, on leg press. You need to focus on bench press, on dips, pull-ups, pull-downs, bent over rows. And you need to spend some time there until you get some serious size. But not doing these isolating exercises, all kind of new nonsense movements, some angles and so-called biomechanics, which are all cowboy stories. They don't have any clue about people who came recent years about that. This is all fake. And you can see the skinniest guys are doing those most phenomenal exercises with cables, one arm at a time, special angle. They allow, I mean, all kind of nonsense. And they will stay like that, and they stay like that for years. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, if you're really serious about training, stick to basics, because nothing builds muscles as basic exercise. Someone who is 9 years on low carb and suffer from chronic high cortisol and waist fat, I need to point out how good on point Dr. Jocic's video, high cortisol is killing your progress. Well, thank you for that, and this is true. So you have to keep your cortisol down. You should not be chronically stressed, and this is obviously very common. People get stressed for all kind of nonsense in their lives, family lives, work. If you are really super stressed at work, you should consider finding another job. If you're stressed in your family, if people around you are stressing you too much, you should be considering options, because that chronic stress is actually mental abuse, and that is killing you, killing everybody. When you're constantly under pressure because of somebody's unfulfilled dreams or desires, which have nothing to do with you, you will be suffering from chronically elevated cortisol. So you have to really reconsider your close companions. I know a lot of people who had heart issues because of that kind of stress, and I can tell you that is very dangerous. And if you manage to control that involuntary stress, the problems that you have mentioned will simply go. What do you think about zero sugar Coke or diet on a diet? Can it slow down progress? Well, first of all, I don't drink that diet Coke or similar because I don't drink any carbonated drinks. Carbonated drinks tend to weaken your hydrochloric acid. So when you drink your diet Coke during a meal, obviously high protein meal, you want to have very strong hydrochloric acid to digest that protein. So any carbonated drink will actually dilute that hydrochloric acid, and this is not good. So you should be avoiding, first of all, because they are carbonated. Zero sugar is fine, but because it's carbonated, is not good. So I would stay away from that. Apart from that, these drinks are also full of all kind of chemicals and acids, and they are not, in general, they are not really good. "90 kg natural training first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Would it be beneficial to have 60-gram whey shake before my morning workout? Or should I just have a meal 2 hours after workout?" Well, you can have a whey shake before your workout, but make sure that it's about 30 to 45 minutes. So your amino acids will be in the body. You don't need it. It will be probably better to have that shake after your workout, probably some half an hour after your workout, and then eat again in about an hour and a half. So that would be better combination. How many sets max for legs? Is it better to split training for quads and you probably mean and hams? Well, for most of my bodybuilding career, I never split my quads from my hams, so I was training them together. Recently, I did try to split them, and sometimes it works, depending how I feel. So if I feel that I can finish my workout with hamstrings, after I've done quads, I will do it. Also, sometimes I feel I want to start my workout with hamstrings and then continue with the front, with quads. Sometimes I split and I train hamstrings with shoulders instead of leg day. So you have to find out what works for you. How many sets? Well, nobody knows. I advise anywhere from 20 to 30 sets for quads. So for hamstrings, anywhere 10 to 15 sets. But you have to try. You may be doing only 16 sets for quads, which is fine. But aim for maybe 20. When you get to 20, focus and try to do maybe more. Again, depends on your fitness level, your experience. And you have to bear in mind everything I say about number of reps, duration of the set, rest between the sets. All these things work together in synergy. It's not just number of sets, not just number of any sets. Because any sets, you can do 100 of them, but that means nothing. And I say 20 to 30 because it's very difficult, almost impossible to do more than 30 for quads if you do everything right, as I advise. Some very clever people said, well, if you said 30, why not 100? Because they don't understand the principles that I'm talking about. I know that is not easy for everybody to understand. It takes a bit of mind for that. But if you listen to what I'm talking about, and if you understand the principles behind the whole picture of sets, number of sets, then you will understand that the number of sets is not arbitrary. It comes from my own experience of thousands of clients that I've trained, and is the biggest scientific experiment that you can ever hear, because I've done with thousands of people over 40 years. I didn't have to document anything. I remember everything. I remember the weights of all my clients. I never write anything down. They say, how can you remember my weights? You have so many clients. Don't you worry about it. This is what I do, and I know what I do. So, yes, the number of sets, ideally 20 to 30, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it now. You got a message and try to be there. 20, 25, 26, eventually 30, but you will see how difficult it is if you're doing everything right. Most guys are laughing at me, but I do meditation before I get into my workout because it lowers my cortisol and lets me perform at a much higher rate. Give me your opinion on this. Well, the meditation, again, is a very much abused concept. People think that there is only one way to meditate. You sit in the lotus position, you put your hands on your knees, you close your eyes, and you start repeating something like Om or some whatever else. But this is not true. Meditation can be done in many different ways, in different positions. You don't have to be on your own when you meditate. You can do it in a group. It's all about your mind and the reason for meditation. When I train legs or chest or anything, and I'm the first guy of the day, I drive to the gym and I'm thinking about my training and I'm meditating. I'm almost warming up while I'm driving. So I don't have to be sitting on the top of the rock overlooking Himalaya mountains in order to meditate. Everybody can do it in their own way as long as that meditation brings results. So when I get to the gym, I am psychologically prepared 100%. And I know exactly what I'm going to do, what I'm going to feel. I'm searching, yearning for that feeling, and I get it. So this is what I do. And whatever you do, if it helps you to do the same, fantastic. Keep doing it, and don't worry about the others. They are not owners of your life. You live your life and try to do as much as you can, as good as you can. After my blood test, I have my creatinine level above normal. Does low-carb diet, which I started 10 months, had an afterglow? Well, creatinine can be high because of your high-intensity workouts. It's nothing new. I had it as well. So do your research, and you will realize actually that there's nothing to worry about, because when you break tissue, when you break protein, which is muscle tissue, muscle fibers, and if you do it regularly 4 or 5 times per week, your creatinine can go high. So guys, I'm going to answer a couple of more questions and then we will finish. Too many sets of dumbbell pullovers wasted the reserve I needed for recovery with no benefit other than a good stretch. Exactly. See, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand this, but you should have stopped immediately if you don't see any progress and you don't get any pump. I mean, you will never pump your back doing pullover with a dumbbell. You will never pump your chest. Why wouldn't you pump? Because they're not active. There is no full stretch and full contraction of that particular muscle. And this is where the story of pullovers ends. pullover that Dorian Yates did on pullover machine is a different story. So you need to understand that. But pullover, as they did it in golden era, is again very different, especially with weights or dumbbell. It's absolute waste of time. Pullover, Dorian Yates style, is something completely different and is a very effective exercise, but that's a different story. What about carbonated spring water? No, I just mentioned don't drink anything carbonated. Hi, Dr. Nash. Could you explain how carbohydrates affect muscle fullness? I usually train around 4 while fasting since dinner the night before. After training, I typically eat 30 to 50 grams of carbs. Carbohydrates have nothing to do with muscle fullness. I mean, just look all these people who didn't eat carbohydrates. They had very full muscles. And I mean, look at the carnivores in nature. Look at lions. Look at cheetahs and others, where their muscles are pumped all the time, exploding. Where are the carbs? They don't eat any carbs. So nothing to do with muscle fullness. Muscle fullness is just the size water that you contain, glycogen that you will always make from via gluconeogenesis. Just make sure that you eat enough protein. You can eat your 30, 50 grams of carbs, not magic. You don't have to eat. You can. Nothing will change if you do or you don't. Try and you will see. All right, guys, one more question. How many sets for each large muscle group do you yourself average now? Well, back never less than 22, usually 25 to 30 sets. Chest, 20, 25 sets. Legs, 20, 25 sets. If I do hamstrings together with quads, probably over 30. Small muscle groups, biceps 12 to 15, triceps 12 to 15, shoulders 16 sets, 4, sometimes 5 sets each head. And yeah, this is it. Okay, guys, I think that's enough for tonight. Thank you very much for all your questions. Whoever helped with super stickers and super chats, again, thank you very much. I really appreciate it because this is how you support the channel and make me create as many videos as I can and as high quality videos as I can. So until the next live